In today's video blog, I'm going to talk about the importance of effective interpretation methods in cultural and heritage attractions. As part of our seminars, we examine different attractions in both regional and urban environments. We went on 2 field trips, one to the National Gallery of Victoria, or NGV, and the second one to Sovereign Hill on the regional area of Ballarat. Some of the challenges observed in this study unit were the impact of the urban and regional location in the marketing strategies, the use of events as a tool to promote repeat visitation, and how different experiences are created and designed as part of the product. I could keep going on and on with a list of challenges and considerations. However, I will stop and focus on the latter, designing experiences. I consider myself as part of Pine and Gilmore's school of thought. The experience economy is something that I have believed in, even before I could put a name on it. Ever since I was a child, my parents told me that money should only be used to buy things that money cannot buy. I know it sounds contradictory, but what my dad meant to say is that for him, money should be spent on creating priceless memories and experiences. This was one of the things that inspired me to do my undergraduate degree on performing arts. Just like in theater or film, the cultural product of an attraction is usually intangible. For example, NGV's exhibition of the masterpieces from the Hermitage aims to transport people to St. Petersburg, Russia, and to have them experience what it's like to be immersed in one of the world's most precious collections found at the Hermitage Museum. And Sovereign Hill attempts to transport the visitor back in time to Australia's gold rush era in the mid-19th century. As you can see, these 2 very different flagship heritage enterprises relied on 2 very distinctive types of interpretation to connect with their core markets. The NGV being a traditional indoor museum with static methods of interpretation, such as signs, exhibits of artifacts and paintings, and interactive media, and Sovereign Hill, an outdoor living history museum that provides face-to-face interpretation through demonstrations, guided tours, and recreation of social, cultural, and historical events within theatrical reenactments. Bandish and Smith carry on to further divide the non-personal or static interpretation and the personal or face-to-face interpretation on first-person narrative and third-person narrative. By putting myself on the shoes of a cultural tourism professional, I began to question, how is it determined which interpretation method is more appropriate to use when you are creating a tourism product? And how do the different types of interpretation can be used to influence, attract, and retain different kinds of market? In order to try to answer those questions, I will focus on reflecting back on my experience at Sovereign Hill and comparing it with another attraction that also uses face-to-face interpretation and that I have experienced multiple times throughout my life, Medieval Times. At Sovereign Hill, I found that most interpretative actors fit Van Dixon Smith category of live interpretation and third-person narrative. This means that although the interpreters at the attraction were dressed in period costume, they didn't fully assume a role to represent the past. They were keen on communicating with me and answering questions I had about the era, therefore breaking their image of being real people from 1851. Although there also existed some third-person narrative of actors that were 100% bound to their period roles, I found that my experience at the Living Museum corresponded to the results of that of Van Dyck and Smith's study of visitor outcomes in relation to interpretation. The two-way communication channel between visitors and interpretative actors allowed me to learn about the gold rush period. For example, how candy was made and colored, or how gold was poured to create ingots. This type of interpretation had been used and mimicked in other attractions around the world. But the question remains, how does interpretation impact the visitor market? Medieval Times is a dinner and tournament show that features live games like sword fighting and jousting that were executed during the medieval era. Attractions like this, however, have a different core market than Ballarat's flagship attraction. People that go to the dinner and show at Medieval Times are aware of the lack of authenticity, and it can be seen in the wooden swords, the plastic cups, and the cardboard crowns that they are provided with. But the enterprise sells the authenticity of the medieval era through the experience of eating with your bare hands and seeing live jousting games being represented in front of your eye. Both attractions have very different goals for their interpretation methods. While Sovereign Hill seeks education and learning through entertainment, Medieval Time focuses merely on entertainment. From the moment you step into the castle where the tournament and the dinner take place, people are surrounded with a grand variety of souvenirs and ticket add-ons that can be purchased to expand your experience before the dinner starts. People can buy everything from a souvenir photo or magnet to a night ceremony by the king of the castle. In relation to this product commodification to the point of mass commercialization, I found really intriguing my classmates' experience with Sovereign Hill's retail products. Most of my peers found excessive the amount of merchandise sold at Sovereign Hill, as there was product available for sale in every interpretative point. For example, you could buy the candy that you had just witnessed being made. Nonetheless, for me there was a wide difference between this type of consumerism and that of similar live cultural attractions like medieval times. During our visit, we were explained by Sovereign Hill executives that as a non-profit organization, the revenue for sale goes back into the maintenance and improvement of the museum, and that education and school programs are one of the key markers. Even during our fieldwork, most of us witnessed several primary students transform into Goldfield students as part of the custom school program. I mentioned this just to make emphasis on the importance of education and authenticity in Sovereign Hill. The same way that students were forced to use the equipment from the era, the product that is being sold inside the Live Museum is locally made. For me, this emphasis on education and replicating the authenticity of the period signifies the main difference between the core markets and the purpose of visit between a profit organization like Medieval Times and a non-profit organization like Sovereign Hill. Both use personal live interpretation, but one focuses on engaging visitors with learning experiences and reaching the school market, while a for-profit enterprise like Medieval Times focuses on expanding its franchise and generating revenue through the appropriation of cultural elements from the medieval era. In conclusion, I can say that I found this fieldwork really insightful, as it immersed me in a set of real-life circumstances focused by the visitors and by the heritage organization itself. I was able to get up close and analyze the current state of original enterprise and compare it with my own past experiences and other attractions. Reflecting on issues like the use of live interpretation methods in cultural and heritage products through real case studies has allowed me to expand my personal collection of knowledge and information that I can apply in future professional practice. I dare to say there is no better or worse when it comes to which type of interpretation method is more appropriate to use. I think that is not a matter of what, but how and to whom. The what, that is, the interpretation methods, will depend on the target market that you want to reach, and also on the brand image and the goals that you're trying to achieve. I believe that just as there are many interpretation methods available to tourism managers, there is also a wide range of visitor preferences, and chances are that you won't please everyone in the spectrum. But destination and attractions, whether regional or urban, should put all their efforts in trying to meet their core market's needs and expectations. Providing a unique experience that is memorable and that tells a story is key. Just like my dad said, I believe that those moments that create a story for you to tell to your family or friends are the ones that you will remember. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you next time.